This is a tutorial on how to stake your Ethereum or how to delegate your ETH tokens to a certain validator in order for you to stake them. So similar to how Solana basically functions, for Ethereum it's almost the exact same thing. You can either stake your Ethereum from MetaMask wallet directly, not from Phantom. Phantom allows you to stake your Solana tokens. MetaMask allows you to stake your ETH tokens directly, and you can do that on your own via a validator after you do your own research. Also, from my end, it's the best way to do this is to go to staking rewards, search for your asset, open the asset. In this case, it's Ethereum. As you can clearly see here, this is the main page of the assets. This is the reward rate for staking. It's 2.9, while Solana is 5.85. The staking ratio for Ethereum at the moment is 32%. So 32% of all ETH that's available is currently being staked, or all Ethereum in circulation is being staked. If I click on it, you get more information. Then you have the list of providers, and this is basically your providers. Now, the case for Ethereum is that most providers, most validators provide you with a liquid staking token. So as soon as you stake your Ethereum, you automatically get a liquid staking token, or LST. We're not going to cover what you can do with LST. This is something for another tutorial when we reach the liquid staking part. For now, we're focusing on staking. So these are the list of available providers. Definitely less information than Solana, especially when it comes to unbonding period, for example. For Ethereum, you do not see this information readily available because of how Ethereum functions. Because the unbonding period in Ethereum is not set in stone. It can range between hours to days to even weeks as well, depending on the exit queue. And that's why you don't see this information readily available. Nevertheless, this is the list of validators that you can choose from. As you can see, also all nodes is available, similar to Solana. You have Binance staking, you have Lido. These are two of the biggest. Also, if you can see the total value locked, so you can see which validator represent the biggest portion of, or have the most staked ETH in their pool. So here, for example, you see that Lido Finance have 20 billion ETH tokens staked in their pool. Binance have around 8 billion, Ether5 4.8, Calp 1.56 billion, etc. So this is where you can basically look for certain validators. Let's say I go with Lido because it's the most known. It has the best rating. APY is relatively okay as well. So, and it has been here the longest. Now, it's not really wise to choose Lido because it has the most total value locked, meaning it has the biggest voting power. So if you care about decentralization, it's better to go with a validator that has much less stake, for example, or much less total value locked, like Bitwise. Even though I don't think you can stake with Bitwise, you can go with all nodes. You have many. You can go with Rocket Pool, Stakewise. You have many different providers that you can choose from that are not part of the top. But so for the sake of this example, we're gonna go with Lido. Here you get more information. The total assets under management 20 billion. The rating, which is A+, and this is basically the rating of the own of staking rewards website, and they rate the network based on multiple different criteria. Here you have information on the stated withdrawal time. So this is the unbonding period that we were talking about. So it ranges between 1 to 5 days. And yeah, you get basically all the information you need in order for you to do your research on the specific validator. Now, with Ethereum, you can also go to the main Ethereum website to see how you can also stake. So if you go to use, for example, you see that you have staking and nodes, and in it you have solo staking, pooled staking, and staking with a service. Now, what's the difference between all of this? Solo staking if you want to run your own validator node. So obviously you need to have a certain amount of Ethereum. You need to have technical expertise. You need to understand what you're doing. It takes a lot of time, effort, and knowledge in order for you to set up your own node. Run a node is very similar to solo staking. You have pooled staking and staking with a service. So staking with a service is a third party that handles your node basically, but it's your own. So you hire someone to run the node for you. But the difference between this one and delegating your tokens is that delegating your tokens, you're giving your tokens to a validator. They run it in their own node, but staking with a service, you run your own node, they just operate it for you. That's the difference between them. Obviously, in our case, we're going to go with pooled staking because the rest are technical, and in some cases, you are required to have a minimum of 32 ETH in order for you to be able to run your node. So obviously, for the sake of this example, we're going to go with pooled staking. So on this page, they explain to you what staking is. And if you scroll down, they also give you a list of providers that you can basically stake with. So as we've seen also similarly on the staking rewards, it's almost the same the same list of providers, of validators. So you have Rocket Pool, you have Stakewise, Everstake, Lido, Bedrock, Anchor, stETH. But for me, I definitely know Stakewise, Rocket Pool, and Lido. These are the most known ones. Let's go with Lido for the sake of this example. So here we are on Lido. You can go directly to stake and earn. Connect my wallet. This is my MetaMask wallet. I get the pop-up. I connect. Once I'm connected, it's as simple as swapping a token. So you go into here, you max out, or let's say you 0.07. Obviously, you cannot put the full amount because you always need to keep some Ethereum with you in the wallet to be able to pay for gas fees. Sorry. So that's why in this example, I cannot put the full amount. I have to choose something below 0.0079. So in this case, let's say I put 0.007, and then you here you get all the information, how much you will receive in liquid staking tokens, which is stETH. You have the freedom to keep these tokens in your wallet, or you have the freedom to take this LST, liquid staking token, and use it in DeFi to earn extra yield. But again, this is related to liquid staking. We're going to be talking about it in a different video. So I'm going to continue. Let's say I'm going to stake this amount. Transaction cost is around 0.33, and annual percentage rate, which is 2.6%, and that's the staking reward. The difference between the reward fee and the annual percentage rate is this is the rate you get for staking your tokens. This is the fee you pay for Lido to stake with them, and they basically take this amount from your from the reward that you're getting from the 2.6%. So you get charged 10% on the 2.6% annual reward that you get. So this is the total staked with Lido so far, which is around 8 million Ethereum. This is the total number of stakers, and stETH market cap, which is their liquid staking tokens. So I proceed, I click on stake. I give it some time. I get this pop-up to approve the transaction. So here it's telling me I send 0.007. I receive 0.007 in stETH. Network yeah, this is the network fee. I pay $0.18 in terms of gas fees. I confirm, and as you can see here, the transaction has been submitted. I wait for a little bit, and then the transaction is now complete. I give it a few seconds, and it should show up on my window here. As you can see, this is my new balance right now in stETH. I was able to stake my token. If I click on this, I can also see the transaction happen on the Block Explorer directly. So this is how you basically stake ETH. You can do it via their website directly, Ethereum website. You can go to the staking rewards and check the different available validators, or you can go also to MetaMask directly in MetaMask, similar to how Solana, we can stake Solana and Phantom. So you open the MetaMask dashboard or the web version, app.metamask.io. You connect your wallet, and then here you have a button which is stake. So they have a pool for their own. You have MetaMask pool, MetaMask validators, and you have liquid staking, which is also they use Lido, which exactly what we did. So the difference is that this one MetaMask routed for you, while if you go to Lido directly, you're doing it on your own from your own wallet. Yeah, they also have Rocket Pool, which is very similar to Lido. And basically once you're on this page, you put the amount that you want to stake, and then you confirm the exact same way we did it in Lido. So now that I have staked my ETH tokens, how do I see where my stake is and if I need to claim it back or unstake? So on Lido, because we did this example on Lido, but all the different decentralized applications functions the exact same thing. You have here a tab which is withdrawals. You click on it, and this is where I see my staked tokens, which are stETH in this example, 0.0069. If I want to request an unstaking, what I can do is I click on max, and then I can request withdrawal. You just click on request withdrawal, sign the transaction, and then you're gonna have to wait around 4 days for you to be able to for the unbonding period to finish. Once the unbonding period finished, then you need to go to claim and then withdraw the tokens back into your wallet. So it's a 2-step process for you to fully unstake the tokens and bring them back to your wallet.